For years and years, JavaScript was ignored. Even though JavaScript was created in the mid 90s, people did not use JavaScript. Two reasons. One is it is weird because it is a combination of multiple languages. Second thing is people didn't like the idea of writing code in the browser, in the client side. People always thought that it is unsafe and they didn't want to write another language, and this is a scripting language without much power, so you have to keep on writing everything. Okay. Another thing is the two browsers which started like the Netscape Navigator or Internet Explorer and then Netscape Navigator or Firefox, they follow different approaches. So you have to write some code for IE, you have to make it work in Firefox or Netscape Navigator, you have to make it in other way. So there was no consistency, like how to write a event handler or how to do some other thing or anything inside the JavaScript. And other than that, if people have to do lot of logic, okay, they used to send to the server side and then they used to do the logic in Java or C sharp or any other thing, PHP or anything, then they used to send it back. So they thought that it is convenient to write logic in one language. But then in 2006, so JavaScript got the break after 10 years. So that was like jQuery, which said that I will write a library which is the most tiniest library, which will not take something. Yeah, Dakshis, I know you are here. So let me continue with the class. So then came the JavaScript library, sorry, jQuery library. It is the most tiniest library, which will not take some much amount or anything. It makes you simplify DOM, uses CSS selector, and lets you not write so much code. So that it became again, people started looking at JavaScript, and not only that, there was a huge demand for Ajax, because how many times you will go to the server and bring the whole page again? People have to wait for 2 seconds on every button click. No, that's not what people wanted. So people wanted Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, but it is not XML anymore, it is JSON. So people don't want to wait for everything, the page to be loaded again and again, and we need like some interactions, only a part of the page being updated. So jQuery became popular. Then the idea, but never people thought that JavaScript could be used server side. Then NoSQL databases came. JSON became very popular. JavaScript object notation. The way we send information used to be XML before, but then JSON became lightweight. JSON is the lightweight message type. So people started using JSON for sending messages between servers and everything. So even though there was no JavaScript, JavaScript existed because you are using JSON. That object format is nothing but JavaScript. So then people thought that, like so front end should be written in JavaScript because it's easy to take the consume the JSON, not only for web applications, even from mobile applications, like if you use Cordova or Ionic framework or anything, you can write your mobile application inside HTML5 and JavaScript. You don't need any other library or anything like that. Then what happened is NoSQL databases came. They wanted to store the data in JSON format. There are no tables anymore. Okay, just put JSON, and that is your database or table or document or row or anything like that. So, and if how do you query them? Then you have to use JavaScript. So shells came on the back end, MongoDB or anything. The shell uses JavaScript. So you're really writing JavaScript like SQL for database. Then actually, this guy Rand Dahl, he was like early 20s. He came up with this, like using JavaScript for server side. There used to be another framework even before Node.js that used to be called Reno. That was old too, but not many people use that. So then this guy thought of creating like a framework or like a application development framework on the server side using JavaScript. But you might say that, oh, JavaScript does not have an IO. Yes, JavaScript is not the engine. JavaScript is the programming language to call the engine. So that is nothing but Node.js. Okay. So this presentation, I think he gave it in. I don't remember when he gave this presentation. You can go to YouTube and watch this. People gave a standing ovation for this when he did that. Okay. All right. It was in some seminar in Europe, I believe. Okay. What is Node.js? Node.js is nothing but instead of .NET, instead of PHP, instead of Ruby, instead of Java, JTE or anything like that, you use Node.js. It is a minimalistic, tiniest framework. You can create anything. You can create a REST API. You can create a web application. You can create a utility on the backend, but it is meant for backend. But JavaScript does not have all this. The core of Node is written in C++. The libraries are exposed to, for example, in Java, JRE is written in some other language, but you are using Java. Agreed? Similarly, like in .NET, it might be C++ and underneath it might be COM, but on the top of it, we call it .NET. Agreed? So similarly, that language is JavaScript for Node.js, but it's nothing but C++ libraries underneath it. Okay? So why Node.js? It is single-threaded, asynchronous, no wait programming language. So server. But you might say that why do I need a single-threaded? Because if my one person is using it, we can't do anything else. That is the reason. It's completely no wait. You cannot make it wait. You have to push it to C++. So the threads will be created in the C++. Threads will not be created in the JavaScript. Okay. All right. So how to think like this? Node.js uses, actually, the fastest JavaScript engine is right now the Google V8 engine that is inside the Google Chrome. So he took that. So if you write any JavaScript, that will compile and run it. Means compile means like when you during running it has to do that hosting and other things, right? That is what compiling is. So it will compile and it will run. Execution of the JavaScript is fast because of the Google V8 engine. Then the core libraries are written in C++. Then how do you talk to the C++ using libuv? It's like a event IO library. It's a Unix, it's a C++ library. So if something happens, it has to call the C++ function or anything like that. So combining these three things is nothing but Node.js. All right. So how do you get Node.js? Go for Node.js download. All right, Node.js download. You can download the Node.js. It is for Mac or Windows, whatever it is. It is works on everything. It's a C++ thing. It will work on anything. Run it. Okay. So right now this is one of the popular stack or the um, like let's say backend engine. See, back in the days, if someone has to create an application, they have to write C++ or Java. Later, like PHP, Ruby came, and even Python came. Node.js is also now more or less like Python or Ruby. Python, I would compare it to more Python rather than Ruby or anything, because it is so dynamic that you can use it for anything. You can use it for a school program, writing an assignment. You can build a enterprise application. Agreed. So that is the versatility of Node and Python. You can use it to write a school program. Means you don't need anything, just a Python runtime engine. But for Java, if you have to do it, you have to install so many things. And for .NET, you need a Windows machine. I have to buy a new machine for it. Agreed. I'm just kidding. So these are the things. Node is like a minimalistic library, like small runtime engine, which you can do many powerful things. All right. And the style of the node comes from Python. Actually, the style of the node, like architecture or not architecture, especially how the libraries and everything like that comes from architecture. So go to Mac and or Windows and install it. How do I know I have Node comes with two things. Node.js, the core runtime engine. Not only that, Node.js will bring you a package manager called npm. What is a package manager? Package manager means, see, Node does not try to give you, oh, I will give you like how to build web application, I will give you how to talk to MongoDB. It will not tell you that. It will not tell you that I will talk to MongoDB. If you need to talk to MongoDB, go and find the Node package which will talk to the MongoDB. Node will not give you anything. Node will give you just basic where you can do JavaScript logic, maybe do file operation, maybe do a HTTP request. That's it. 3 or 4 core libraries. Other than that, nothing is there in Node. If you need anything, go to that package manager. That is like your social network for Node. People put packages. You can download packages. You can add packages. Got it? So a package is nothing but a Node module where you can use it, download it, and use it. Agreed? So if you like I opened, this is my shell, like a command line. How do I know that I have like 1 second, npm is there, not there, node is also not there, really? I thought node was there. But anyway, I can install it, not a problem. It would be nice to see the installation too. Okay, I'll open the node package manager, continue. Okay, okay, it's a simple installation, installing the C++ libraries and everything done. Now I can go to my node. You can see it opened some terminal. Control C to close that. Okay, Control C, exit. All right, npm. You can see it comes with npm. npm, like let's say for example, I want to, if you see, these are the commands available for npm command. And you can see like npm start, npm install, uninstall, and anything. So what is this npm? If you go to this npm js .org, it's a non-profit organization, and there is also npms.io. You can search some library. For example, like I want to find a package, I want to talk to Facebook. Okay, there is a Facebook chat api, Facebook node sdk. Or you can search here also, like for example, I want to write a chat application, like let's say socket.io. I want socket. Agree, I want to create a socket or something like that. Or I want to talk to mongodb. Okay, from Nodejs, what are the packages available for mongodb? Okay, you can see mongoose, mongodb, like that. Agree. And if I want to do like a mysql, I want to connect to mysql from Nodejs, go and find the packages. These are the packages available. And how do I install the package? When you go to the package, it's nothing but you can see npm install mysql. That's it. You can come here, npm install mysql. It will install npm that mysql library package for you. Agreed. So this is like a package manager. Okay, anyway, we are not here to learn about npm, we are here to learn about Node.js. So let's go back to Node.js. Okay, so using any ideas like WebStorm, Sublime Text, or Cloud9, you know what I'm using, Cloud9, because it's online. I don't have to again store it. Now let's look at, it's a single threaded node, is a single threaded no wait asynchronous framework. For example, like let's say if you are in a PHP or something like that, let's say like you are in PHP. In PHP, when you try to like make a connection or anything to the node server or anything like that, PHP server, like you make a request to the PHP server, it will create a thread. And in that thread, it will talk to MySQL or anything like that. For example, while the data is coming from the MySQL database, what is this PHP thread doing? Waiting. If another person is coming and doing something, it is creating a thread. So multiple threads are there, but sometimes there might be a wait inside that thread. One thread, there might be 3 threads, but they're still waiting for MySQL to return the data. So what is happening? The CPU time is being wasted. When you take this kind of approach, like PHP, Java, or any other language, okay, any other framework, I would not say language. When you make a request to server, that will create a new thread. In that thread, you are going to database or file reading or anything. What is my CPU doing now? Waiting. What is in the other? But when you go to the other person, it is creating another thread. So the CPU might be waiting. So in Node.js, we don't have anything like threads or anything like that. There is, everything is a single thread. So what will happen when you try to make a connection to Node.js? Everything is single threaded. So when you come and ask for something, it will go and push it to the event like engine. Remember that diagram I showed you, engine in the stack there is single threaded, it will push it to the engine. The thread is created in the C++, but you will not make it wait. It has to do a database connection is one thread. You will create a C++ thread to do a database connection. Then once the connection is done, it has to give a callback, it has to loop back. You got it right? So you push it here, this will loop back with a callback, then that will come onto the stack, then I will push it to make a query, then it will come back. So you keep on looping it rather than making threads. So you will utilize the CPU more than before because there is no wait anywhere. You will tell that, see, for example, like you have like 10 people working or anything like that, agreed? Everyone, for every dish or anything like that, you are trying to make, for example, you are making 10 dishes for 10 people or anything, 10 people are making them or anything like that. One person might have to wait for something like that, don't have the ingredients or anything, they are waiting, agree? Another, but there are 10 threads, but in each thread everyone might be waiting like 5 minutes break or something like that. In Node you don't have like that. You will have only one person. That person will hire, okay, get this for me. After that is done, the job is done, that person is done. So you will hire 10 or 20 people or 30 people, but you don't do it just for assigning task. Only when there is job you will give them for that 1 hour or anything, and after that you finish it up. Understand what I just said? So we will push it to the engine to do a task. Once the task is done, you will call back. Again you push it. Again you get a call back. Again you push it. Again you call back. So there might be 100 threads, but no thread is in wait. Agreed? So that is why we will call it single threaded, no wait. When it is asynchronous, then why it would be? When it is asynchronous, why it has to wait? When it is async, yeah, that is a good question because you have to understand JavaScript first of all. Let me put it this way: you sent a, it became asynchronous because of this structure. You got it right? Java is not asynchronous, agreed? Because there is no callback mechanism or anything. By you, as always remember, there should be some other place where you can put some information in asynchronous. That can be, for example, compare like you make a telephone call. If that person put you on hold, you are still on hold. You're not doing anything. Just be, the line is being wasted. In here we call it CPU. CPU is being wasted. You send a message. You send a message in text message, and you don't wait. When the message, when they see that they will send a message, that is called callback. But you need a place where you can put that message, right? And you need someone to call it back when someone read it, right? Agree? So that is what this event engine is. Agreed? Yes, this is what callback is. That's what exactly I explained. So why are we waiting? We are not waiting. We are doing our own stuff. You are doing your own stuff. Means I said no wait. Java node is single threaded. It has to be single threaded only. No wait and asynchronous. Agree? All right. So, but the problem is, if you ever try to do on something on the stack, you are making people wait because it is single threaded. Like let's say, instead of sending a message, you are writing a long message to someone. Agree? That means people who are trying to reach out to you, you are putting them on hold. For example, text messages are meant to be simple. If you are writing like a novel inside the text message, that is hell. You got it right? Means you are not using your phone efficiently. So Node.js, you should never try to do anything on the stack. You should always push it to the engine. What you might ask me, like, that is the reason all the functions or all the modules people are trying to do in Node.js will be done asynchronously in the C++, not in the Node directly. But you might say that what is being writing in Node? For example, you have like a huge JSON in JavaScript, and you're trying to read every key, and you're trying to move key to here or doing some big JSON operation. You should not do that. You should try to push it to engine somehow. You have to find a module which can push it to the engine and do that, rather than. So any core JavaScript runs in the stack. Remember that no, if you know your JavaScript very well, you will understand that. If any core JavaScript, not like a set timeout function, not like a say, all this will go to engine, but any core JavaScript like a JSON, for loop, or anything like that, if you write a for loop which is infinite loop, you're gone, your node is broken. For example, you are putting a Google server on Node.js, your Google is not working, that's it, your site or enterprise is gone. So when you write node, you have to be very careful. All right, so you have to clearly understand where is this running. Is this running on the stack, or is this running on the engine? Agree? So remember that. All right, okay. Before I go into the Cloud9 or anything, I want to show that, see, if you want to start node, remember I told that every JavaScript is a uh, language which does not have IO. That is the reason people creates REPL. REPL means read, evaluate, print, loop. Node is also a REPL, so you don't have to really open an editor or anything. You can write a program from here itself. Console.log hello world, agreed, or hello node world. All right, you can see that it printed. So it will read what you type, it will evaluate, it will print the result, and it will again loop through it. So this is like a node REPL, so you can keep on doing it. Agree? For example, you want to write like a for loop or anything like that. So let's say variable I is equal to 10, and you might say that why did it print undefined? Whenever you do enter, it returns a function, and by default everything is undefined. Agree? So you might be confused, but you know, if you know your JavaScript well, you are returning nothing is undefined. For example, when you try to print a variable or anything like that, something has to return. Right now the return is undefined. So I is equal to 10, variable j is equal to 20, and console.log I plus j. Agree? All right, so let's close the REPL. All right, now I'm good. Now let's go here. So this Cloud9 actually created a Node.js environment. I am not sure if you on until Node.js until now. I've been actually in Node for a while. Okay, not in web application or anything. Now let's look at Node.js. Okay, so the first thing is I will write like a node1.js. Okay, nothing. Just do console.log, and I will say hello world. Okay, all right. How do you run this? You have to generally open a terminal window, new terminal, and this terminal, now I am in the workspace. Okay, and ls, you can see all the folders actually. Ls l, you can see all the folders actually. Now cd node, I went to into the node, and I want to run node1.js. So instead of writing a REPL, I want to execute. I'm telling that node, like Java hello world, node this file. What did it print? Hello world. Why? Because in that file we have a hello world. Agree? Node.js. But instead of this, I used to do what? I used to run it, which used to do that node1.js or anything. See? All right, that is what used to happen. Agree? All right. Now node has something called module. Okay, let me go here. So event loop, I already explained it. Okay, I will show the difference between synchronous and asynchronous code very soon. Yeah, node has something called module. And again, whenever you write a file in node.js, it will try to put a ify block around it. So even if you use a var on the file, like, you know, if I use like var I is equal to 10, what is the scope of this? By default, if it is a web application, it is a global scope. But in node, this is not a global scope, because it will put a ify block around this file. It will never try to make your stuff sneak into the global scope. But if you are smart enough and try to remove this one, now it will go into global scope, because it is, you are not trying to define that in the file. You are trying to use it from the global. Agree? Remember, if it cannot find, if even though IFE is put around it, now it is not declared inside the IFE, so it will assign it to the global. Okay, all right. So remember that there is always a IFE block around every file inside the Node.js. So module system, there are many module systems in JavaScript. Why do we need a module system? For example, if you learn a language called Java, they will say packages. If you learn C sharp, they will say namespaces. If you go for Ruby or anything, they will say jumps. Means more or less every language have like a module definition. Like, oh, this class will go into this module, this class will go into this module, or this class will go into this namespace. What are these namespaces, packages, and everything? Boundaries under which these entities will go into. But in JavaScript, we don't have even a class, we don't even have a module. Whatever you write is present everywhere globally. Agreed? So that is the reason there are some module systems created in JavaScript. CommonJS, RequireJS. Agreed? Node uses CommonJS module system. What is a module mean? For example, I want to go and first of all, Node automatically comes with inbuilt modules inside it. So if you want to use a module means you are trying to use that files from that module, or that functions from that module, or that function constructors from that module. Like, let's say, how do you use a module? For example, now I want to use a module. Like, let's say in Node, you can say variable OS. There is a module called OS. Require OS. This is a module called. There is already this module inside the Node.js. How would I know what are the modules inside Node.js? Go to Node.js and automatically you will find this API docs or anything like that. Go to docs and go to API docs. I would definitely like to go to API docs, and these are the modules. You can see these are the modules on the left hand side, very minimal. And you can go to OS. This is the OS module. You can see constant OS equal to require OS. So how did I get that OS module? By using require and giving the module name, I got it like OS. Now when I have this, okay, what are the functions written in that OS? I don't know. Like, let's see, for example, you want to know host name, or you want to know what is the operating system of that os.platform. Okay, so now I will say console.log os.platform. Agree? And now let's run it. Linux. And similarly, like os dot, if you do like CPUs, how much memory we have, console.log os dot, you can say what is the host name, and console.log os dot free memory, and the console.log. I'm just trying to use all the functions and other things in OS release of the version. Okay, all right, let's see this. You can see this is Linux, and these are the CPUs we have. These are the CPUs we have on that machine. Agree? And you can see now this is the host name, this is the machine name, this much free memory is there, this many bytes free memory is there, and Linux is the operating system type. Agree? So I just use, so I don't have to write this OS functions anymore. Already I get the module, use the module. Now there is another way. You can go and install it from somewhere else. Now, like, let's say I want to open the terminal. I want to open the terminal and I will say npm install. I want to install a module from npm. Let's say what module you want to do. Like, let's say request. Okay, request module. This is giving HTTP request. Okay, I don't like this part. Open npm. It will open in the npm.js file. So this is the if you see what is the command to install this one, npm install request. So I will just go and try to do that. Okay, So now I'm downloading that from the npm.js, from the registry package manager. I'm downloading. It will download all the dependencies too. Where do I see that? If you see, there will be always this node modules folder. Under this, now do you see this request? And under this again you will have node modules. Why? What are the dependencies of it? Will have its own node modules. Every project in node will have node modules. We can install dependencies will have its own node modules. Agree? This structure comes from Python actually. All right, that is what before I told you. Now let's go here, and I want to use this request now. Okay, I will say like node3 .js variable request is equal to require request. Okay, request. Okay, you can see I made a request. Now I want to request dot, let's see what is the code for that. Request, just request. Okay, all right, let's use a rec. Okay, now I can request a website. Okay, I want to request like let's say http instead of google.com or anything like that. Let's use any API, github API slash github.com, api.github.com, like let's say um, white box hub. Okay, I don't think this will work. I think it will should use users. It should use users. Okay, second. Okay, you can see there is a API. I want to get all this data from this node program. Okay, I will give the API. All right, and always node is, this is like you are not really requesting from the stack. You are doing it in the engine. This function has to go in the engine. Once you done, what do you have to call me back? Call this back. So node always have a special type of callback signature that is called node style. Of course, node did it, node style. That is first parameter will be always error. Agree? Then you will have the other parameters. So once the request is made, okay, it will make call the error if there is an error. Agreed? And then it will get you the response and body of it. Okay, this is the parameters. All right. Now, why should we use always error first? For example, if error, you can write a block like this telling that okay, console.log you can say error, and you can put error. You can use actually two parameters to console.log and return. Do not do anything, just get out, because I know there is an error. If there is not error, okay, console.log body like request is success. Agree? And I will say console.log body. Okay, all right, let's see. Okay, seriously. Oh, there should be a user agent. Okay, really? Okay, otherwise do one thing. Let's use completely not the API, directly the normal website. You can see I got the complete website. All right, from this. So you can just make a HTTP request and get whatever you want. All right, so this is the request library. Is the response and body compulsory parameters too? No, in JavaScript never ever it will say like mandatory, right, parameters. But you have to, if you want body is the third parameter. Agree? Body is the third parameter, so you have to remember that. That's all. You don't have to give everything. You know, in JavaScript you can just write the callback without anything too. Agree? And you have to use arguments, object, or anything if you need something. If you don't want anything, don't use it. JavaScript is dynamic, remember? So Now we used a inbuilt module. So first thing is we did use a inbuilt module. Now we used a module which is downloaded from npm. The third way is you can write your own module. How will you do that? There are two styles to write modules. I will tell you both of them. One is using module pattern, another one is using constructor pattern. Okay, so I will say user module one. Like let's say this module is like math module. Okay, math.js. Okay, math with a module pattern, module math module. Okay, like this, and write this js. So first thing is you can write a function math module. It doesn't matter how you write the function. Okay, okay, all right, math module. Write module pattern, all the private variables, like let's say variable current value is equal to 0. Okay, then we have like variable increment function current value plus plus, and variable decrement function current value minus minus. And now return an object, because you have to expose what you want to. I will say increment, and I will say increment, and I will say decrement, and I will use decrement. Agree? So this is the module pattern. All right. Okay, now just because you do that, it will not become the module. Always you have to do module dot exports is equal to math module. Means you have to expose what you want to give outside, you have to export it outside. So this line is very important, module dot exports. Okay, all right. Am I executing the function? No, I'm just giving the function variable. Remember that I'm giving the function variable. If I execute it, automatically they will get the JSON. So I will show the two ways here. I will say node4.js. So whenever you are using like math module, see this one. Okay, math module, or like let's say math module require. Whenever you use a require for something from the file system, you have to give the path. You just don't have to say like require math module, it won't go do that. You have to give the path of the file. So what is that? Math module.js. Sometimes you don't have to use JS, it's okay, because it knows that oh, node means you write JS only. I know that, you don't have to tell me. Agree? So you will write like this. This is very important, because you have to tell where in the file structure it is. Okay, I got the math module. How do you get that object? Variable module or math is equal to math module function. You are executing the function now. That gave the function variable. Now you are executing. Now for example, like let's say, actually let me write one more function also. Print. You need something to print the current value, right? Console.log current value. All right, print. Okay, now see this one, math dot increment. Again math dot increment, and now I will ask math dot print. What do you think will print? What do you think will print? Really? So when you increment 0 to 2 times, you will get 1. Okay, I'm not good at math, so you guys should tell me. All right, so you can see how it worked. We don't have to expose everything, so we wrapped everything under the module. Now people can use our module. And what if you execute it directly? See, you gave the function. What if you execute it? Means they directly get the JSON. You got it right? What if they execute it directly? You will directly get the JSON. So people, you can just write math is equal to, you don't need this line at all. But it depends on you, and it depends on the business which one to do. I cannot determine that. Why? Because the reason is, do you want just one object throughout the scope, or do you want to make multiple objects yourself? The requirement says that you have to make, every time you call, do you need a new object, or do you need to use the single object for everyone? Agree? Okay, so you can see that math.print, and it will do the same thing too. Same thing you can write in another style. This is a module pattern, and you can write in the constructor pattern. So how will you do that? So I will write math constructor. Okay, just const. We'll use that, means constructor. Okay. Now I will write math module. Okay, see this one. All right, variable current value 0. This dot increment is equal to function. Believe me, node is very simple. If you don't know JavaScript, of course it will be tough. That is the reason we did so many JavaScript classes. I'm not teaching Node directly, right? Stick so much of JavaScript. So I should complain, not you. All right, so you can see that this is how. And again, you have to still do module.export. Or do you want to export the directly the object or function? If you have to use the function, just say math module. If you want to send the object, you cannot do you have to use new. If you want to make the object, use new. If you want to just give the function back, like this. Now I can do node 5.js, and I will say variable math, okay, module is equal to required, and math constant.js. Okay, now variable math is equal to new math module. So this is like you get new because that is a constructor function. If there is a constructor function, you have to use new because everything is binded to this there. Agree? And now I will say math dot increment, and math dot increment, and math dot decrement, math dot print. Yes, agree. So you can see that. So these are the modules. So there are three ways to use modules. Use inbuilt module inside the node. Use a module by downloading it from a npm. Use a module which you have written yourself. We just learned two patterns here. Along with this node, we learned two design patterns: module pattern, constructor pattern. Agree? Alright, so I will go through some libraries inside the node, some basic libraries. We don't have to do much things, and that is pretty much we will do. One second, let me go through some. Console, everyone knows console is a library to console.error, console.one, console.info, console.log. Agreed? Everyone knows that. And global, there is a object called global object in websites. In DOM, the global object in JavaScript is window. In Node, the global object is global. Agreed? With capital G. Okay, you can use the global object. And next thing is anything else I can use. here REPL timers. All right. One of the most famous library we can use is HTTP. Now I will, for example, like I want to create a web server in Java. What will I do? You have to go and do like start that install Apache or JBoss or Tomcat or whatnot. Agreed. If you have to do Ruby, same thing. If you have to do PHP or anything. Here, web server is a program. HTTP is a program because C++ the web server will be created. Now I want to create a web application for myself, just like that. Agreed. I will write a. There is a module called HTTP module. Node 6.js. Okay. There is a module called HTTP module. How will I get that? It is an inbuilt module. Yes. So directly I will use HTTP. On this HTTP, there is a method called create server. It will create a server for you. Agree? It will create a server for you. And what you can do is like it will take a 1 second create server. Okay. It will take a callback function. It will take a callback function. You can write a callback function. In that callback function, it takes request response. So if you get if someone is sending a request to this server, if someone is sending the request to the server, it will come as a request object here. If you want to dispatch any response, you have to pass it into this response. Got it right? All right. And on the server, you can do listen. You can tell which port number you want to listen. 8080 means 80. If I run this, the web server is running. Why? Because you just created a HTTP web server. Yes, I know. It's a function with a callback. Now let's say if someone is giving a request, I want to say response dot write. Actually, write. I want to say this is my home page. Agree? And I will say response dot end. Whenever someone gives a request to this one, I will ask like this. Now I will start this. Already the site code is running. And on what port the code is running? See, the node is keep on running. Agreed? Because we started the listener. It is just keep on listening until you close this node program. So it's like I went here. So it's like I went here node 6.js node 6.js. Until I now go and do command C and close that process, it will keep on running. You got it right? Remember, just if I said node, this is running. It is waiting for the program to do something. You have to close the node program using Control C to exit that process. Agree? This is also running now. Now this guy, this is the site, right? This is the site. Actually, this guy is running now. I'll go here. By default, HTTP, which port it will go when you make a HTTP request? 80. That means I'm listening there only. I'm listening that port only. I got a website now. Yes, I created a website. How many lines of code I wrote? Not even 4 lines. That is Node.js for you. If I had to do this in Java 10 years back, first I have to teach Java, then JSP, then servlet, then that, this, you got it right. Then we have to do 10 classes, then we have to write all this. Alright everyone, so did you see what we just did? Now you might not understand this, like let's say, I will stop this process. Now if you go here, what will you get? 404 or 500 error, no application 500 error. Agreed? Now, in other words, in simple terms, I will try to explain. I am writing a callback. If anyone sends a request to me to my server, I will take the request. Like I will print the request. Like let's say request dot headers or something like that. I want to get all the headers of the request. I'm just printing the headers. Now response. I'm writing the response. I can write a HTML. Nice HTML too. Like let's say just write a HTML and head and head and awesome website. Agreed. And body, okay, am I right? Think there is something else I have to do, but it's okay. If it doesn't work, it's okay. So this is a function. When the web server comes, someone is doing this. Now I will say server. I'm writing in a more cleaner fashion, but you don't need to write it. Create server and give the listener as callback. You have to give this callback to that. Now I can go and say server.listen. See, before I wrote everything in one line. I'm just trying to make it nice for you, and I'm now listening on 88. Okay. Did I forget to close somewhere? Okay. And also I think response dot add headers. I think I have to attach a header telling that the content type is equal to text/html. Set header content type. Remember response text/html. That means you are telling that the browser knows that now it is a HTML, right? Okay, run the server. Okay, same port, same thing. My awesome website is not coming on the top. Why it is not coming? Because didn't I put the title in the head? Because I did not put this in a title tag. Agree? Title tag, and I have to use title tag. Agree? So stop, run again. Alright, now the web server is restarted. I don't know what happened. I think it is just started listening now. I don't know what happened. I think I didn't save this. Okay, go here. See, the awesome website is the title. Agree? All right. But you can see these are the request headers. Host is this one, cache control, user agent. You came from Mozilla, like Google Chrome 51 version. Agreed? And your language was ENUS. Agreed? So those are the things, right? So these are the headers we got it from that request. All right. So now we have a website, but people should not write like this. Remember, don't try to write JavaScript synchronously because it is asynchronous. So you should try to read it asynchronously. If you read it like, you don't know when you create server which callback, you have to go on to the top. That's why never ever write like this. Always write inside this one and directly attach this listener here. No need of doing anything else. Everything is one line. But you might say that, oh, even though any page I go, I will get 404, right? I will only get this message, right? Then how will you make website? Yes, you have to look at the request, what path they are doing, and try to load that file, something like that. So if you want to create a website using this in Nodejs, I know everything is single function now. Complete application, complete web server is a single function. It's hard to imagine because you are used to writing hundreds of JSP files, hundreds of servlets and models and everything like that. But it's fine. Means you can still make it. It's a single function, but you can split this function into as many functions you want. Or you can use framework like Express. Express will do that for you. There is one more library, a module I want to talk about. So I will use that to make a website to later. That is the FS module. That is nothing but file system. In any language, there will be like this java.io, system.io, or any IO. So here we call that as file system module and require file system FS. If you want to read a file, for example, like I want to write a file, like let's say read a file1 dot text. This is the first file, and you want to do another file, file2.txt. This is second file. Agreed? Alright. How do you read a file? fs dot read. There is a read file. Do you see this? Okay. You have to give the file path. What is the path of this one? File1.txt. It is same in the same place. Do you read the file inside the stack? No. You read it in the engine. You are just asking the engine to read. Once you read, give me the callback. Again, how do you do the callback? What is error first callback? Remember, error first callback, and I think data. Okay, of that file. All right. If there is an error, means something went bad in the reading file. Okay, error console.log, and I will say error, and I will give the error. Agreed, and return. Agreed, and otherwise data. I want to print the data, like let's say success, and I want to print data. Data comes as a memory buffer, so you have to do toString to convert it into string. Okay, so use toString. Remember, whenever you do file operations, everything comes as a memory buffer. Try to convert them into strings using toString. Okay, all right. So this is the file. Okay, all right. If you want to read the second file, you can do the same thing again here. But if you want to read the second file after the first file, if you want to read the second file, once the first file is read, where should you put the code? Inside the callback. Callback means the first one is done. Agree? So you cannot put, for example, if you want to read the second file, first let's read this first. Okay, before going that far. Success. This is first file. Do you see that? Okay. If you want to read the second file, you can do here. Okay, you can do here. Agree? You can do here. But the thing is, I want the second file to be read only after the first file is read. So how do I do that? You cannot do like this. So you have to write that inside the callback of the first one. So you have to write this inside here. That is why people say callbacks are hell, because you will forget where you have started this. Agreed? And here this is file2.txt, and again you might have to do all this. I can just go and say code formatting. Okay. All right. So this is error 1, success 1, error 2, success 2. Why I should not put sequentially? Because it doesn't wait for the callback and it will move forward. Stack will move forward. Remember, if you want dependencies, you have to wait until the callback comes back. Otherwise, you are moving in the single thread. It won't wait for the first one. That doesn't mean that you will do a thread.sleep and wait it. That means you are killing Nodejs. You got it right? Remember? So that is why these callbacks are very important. So now, same thing I want to do in another way now. So use this file thing for, now instead of this one, I will say index.html, and I will say now like another file called about us.html, about.html. Just write two HTMLs. Now I will go through some W3 schools to borrow some HTML. W3 schools, go here, HTML tutorial only. I just want some pages. Okay, this is the first file, and let's write another file. This is the about us. Okay, all right. Now I will write this server node8.js file system. Agreed? All right. There is, first of all, let's do one thing. Console.log request dot, just print the request object. Okay. Now I will start the server and I will go here and I'll put this one. There is a problem. What will happen with that? Okay, I will tell you. That request will not end there because you did not write the end for that. In other words, stop it because the response has to end. Otherwise, that person is keep on waiting for you until the browser timeout. You can see this is the this is the all the headers and everything. But now let me search for inside this. Headers has a host. Other than that, there should be something else actually, path or anything. Hmm. Request.url. You can see this slash, and if I give slash about or anything like that, slash about will come slash about. Okay, that fav icon will keep on coming. You know why? I don't have to tell you. Fav icon is like it want all the browsers make this request for this icon here. This icon is called fav icon. Okay, that browsers keep on making that request for that because I want to show it nicely in my browser. Agree? So even though you don't ask for anything, that is a general standard. Now I will write, see this one, if request dot url you understand right what I am writing, or why triple equal, I don't know. Okay, then fs dot read file. What is the file? Then in the response write the data. Agree? And then response dot end. You got it right? Agreed? Hmm. Read that and send it. Agreed? Yes. Do I have a web application now? Really? I don't have this index. I don't know. Something happened. Some error happened. It's okay. Something happened. What what is the error? Nodejs 18. Really? Some write failed. It's okay. But you got it. You know how it worked, right? Okay. Alright. So I created a web application using this. Alright, routes, you are going too advanced. So let's not go to routes. Okay. Alright. Alright, guys. That's it for today. Let me know if you have any questions.